Imagine checking your old penny jar one evening, expecting nothing more than a handful of copper-colored coins, but hidden beneath those common sense is one rare coin that could flip your financial life upside down. That's right, a penny that could be worth not a few cents, not a few dollars, but over $1.2 million. Today, we're diving into the story of a coin that's been overlooked by thousands, even millions, the 1970 Lincoln Memorial Penny. A coin born in a decade of change, holding secrets only the most curious collectors have unlocked. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, and why this coin could be your ticket to a brand new life. But first, ask yourself, how many times have you held a penny and never really looked at it? Stay with me. This story gets deeper than you'd think. The 1970s were a complex time for America. Economic shifts, political unrest, and rising inflation meant that every cent counted, literally. In 1970, the Denver Mint produced over 2.9 billion Lincoln Memorial pennies. On the surface, nothing seemed different. The same copper composition. The same profile of President Lincoln. The same familiar memorial reverse, but as with many treasures, the value lies not in the ordinary, but in the extraordinary. A few coins that year, struck with slight anomalies, have made their way into collector lore. A handful of 1970 pennies display traits so rare and so precise, experts believe they were the product of a once-in-a-lifetime minting error, and these aren't myths. These are coins graded, authenticated, and auctioned for amounts that would make Wall Street raise an eyebrow. Let's break down what exactly makes this Lincoln Memorial penny worth a jaw-dropping $1.2 million. First, the most valuable 1970 pennies show a doubling effect on the obverse, that's the front side of the coin, where Lincoln's portrait is. This phenomenon, known as a doubled die, occurs when the coin die is improperly manufactured. The result? Words like liberty and in God we trust appear slightly duplicated under magnification, a tiny flaw, but a massive signal to collectors. Now add to this a sharp, full strike, high copper content, and an untouched condition. Some of these coins are graded MS67 and above, that's mint state, a near-perfect coin with minimal to no wear. And when these characteristics align, the value climbs into the six-figure range, sometimes more. But here's where it gets even more interesting. There's a version of the 1970 penny struck on a 1941 Canadian cent planchet. It's not just a doubled die, it's a coin that shouldn't even exist. During coin production, blank discs known as planchets are fed into coin presses. Sometimes, especially during periods of high production pressure, foreign planchets accidentally enter the system. In the case of the 1970 a few Canadian copper blanks from 1941 somehow made it into the Denver Mint's operations. And a small number of Lincoln pennies were struck on them. The weight is off. The composition is off. But the strike is perfect. A hybrid coin that shouldn't exist. And in the coin collecting world, that kind of mistake is golden. Some numismatists speculate that mint workers may have created a few intentionally, slipping them past inspectors and into circulation. If true, these coins are more than rare, they're legends in metal, and here's the real twist, these coins may still be hiding in plain sight, yes. In jars. In drawers. In inherited collections passed down without thought. So the next time you're holding a penny from 1970 with a D mark, take a pause. Look closely. You could be holding the rarest one of all. Let's talk about how to find these coins, and what to do if you suspect you found one. First, sort through your collection. Focus only on pennies dated 1970 with a D below the date. Use a jeweler's loupe or coin magnifier to inspect details. Look for doubling on the lettering, clarity in the strike, and anything unusual in the surface or color. Weigh the coin. A normal 1970 penny should weigh 3.11 grams. If yours is lighter, closer to 2.8 grams, you might be looking at one struck on a foreign planchet. Now here's a critical point. Don't clean it. Never polish, scrub, or try to make it shinier. Cleaning a rare coin can drop its value by thousands. Instead, place it in a protective sleeve and reach out to a professional coin grading service. PCGS or NGC are top-tier choices. They can authenticate and assign a grade, which plays a massive role in determining value. In 2023, one of these coins in pristine condition was estimated at over $1.2 million at auction. One coin. One moment. One financial transformation, and that brings us to an even bigger question. Let's take a step back and dream for a second. What would life look like if tomorrow you discovered you were holding a seven-figure penny? Would you pay off your mortgage? Retire early? Start that business you've been putting off for years? Maybe take that cross-country road trip in a fully restored 1969 Mustang. This isn't about fantasy. It's about opportunity. Real opportunity hidden in the smallest corners of your life, and the 1970 penny is a reminder that not everything valuable looks valuable at first glance. Sometimes, it's the little things that carry the most power, and if you think the 1970 penny is the only one worth a fortune, you're in for a surprise, because there are dozens more pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, quietly circulating among us, each holding untapped wealth. Your call to action: take a day this week and go through your old coins. Pull out those 1970 pennies. Grab a magnifier. Start looking, because that one coin, that forgotten copper disc at the bottom of your change jar, could be the turning point in your story. You've got the knowledge now. You've got the tools. And the reward could change your life forever. Subscribe to this channel for more rare coin secrets, hidden million-dollar treasures, and real stories from people just like you who struck gold in the most unexpected places. In the world of coin collecting, the next big discovery might just be in your pocket right now. Stay curious, stay watchful, and keep searching, because the next millionaire might not be on Wall Street, he might just be watching this video. Gentlemen, imagine this. You're digging through a dusty old coffee can full of change in your garage. You pull out a worn-down penny, just like you've done 100 times before. But this time, something's different. That little coin in your hand? It's a 1996 Lincoln Memorial penny. And it could be worth $1.30 million. Now take a moment to let that sink in. A coin you might have used for bubblegum back in the day could now buy you a luxury home, a few classic cars, or even fund your retirement comfortably. In this video, we're going on a 30-minute journey through the world of the 1996 Lincoln penny. I'm going to show you why this seemingly ordinary coin has become a millionaire maker. We'll explore how to spot the valuable ones, why collectors are scrambling to find them, and what you should do if you think you have one. And stick around until the end, because I'll reveal the one shocking error that skyrocketed this penny's value, and most folks never even notice it. The Lincoln Memorial penny first rolled out in 1959, marking the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. It replaced the wheat cent and featured the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Now, the 1996 version wasn't meant to be special. It was minted in Denver, with millions upon millions entering circulation. But history has a funny way of hiding treasures in plain sight. See, 1996 was nearing the end of the Memorial penny era, which would eventually give way to the Lincoln Bicentennial Series in 2009. But this coin carried a secret, one that would not be discovered until years later. And that secret would make it one of the most valuable modern pennies in existence. Alright, let's get into the meat of it. Not every 1996 penny is worth a fortune. In fact, most are still worth 1 cent. But a rare handful possess characteristics that send their value through the roof. First, let's talk about double dies, a famous minting error that occurs when the coin design is impressed more than once but slightly misaligned. Collectors go wild for this. Some 1996 pennies were struck with doubling visible in the word Liberty, the date, or even Lincoln's profile. That kind of error is incredibly rare, especially in that year. Second, we've got coins struck on the wrong planchet. Some 1996 pennies were mistakenly struck on dime or foreign coin blanks, giving them the wrong color, weight, or size. You ever seen a penny that looks silver? That could be one of them. And third, the grade. A mint state 1996 penny graded MS69 red is a unicorn. The fewer the scratches, the deeper the red luster, the higher the value. Combine that with a rare error and boom, you're talking 7 figures. One of these rare beauties sold in a private auction for $1.3 million. Imagine getting that phone call after sending your old penny off to a grading service. Let's break it down in simple terms. If you're holding a 1996 penny, flip on a bright light and grab a magnifying glass. Start with the obverse, or the head side. Look at the word Liberty, the year 1996, and especially the D mint mark. Next, check the color. A rich red hue means the coin hasn't been circulated much. If it looks dull brown or has spots, it's likely not high grade. But if it's got that original copper shine, you might be holding something special. Weigh it. A normal penny from 1996 should weigh 2.5 grams. If yours is lighter or heavier, it could have been struck on the wrong planchet, a major error that serious collectors love. Now here's the real kicker. There's one extremely rare variation that involves an off-center strike where the coin wasn't aligned properly when it was stamped. If it's off by more than 15% and still has a full date, you could be sitting on a goldmine, and that's not just theory. One man in Colorado found such a penny in a roll he'd gotten from the bank. He sold it for $1.3 million to a private collector. It was authenticated, graded, and sealed forever as a piece of numismatic history. It's about rarity, history, and the thrill of the hunt. Collectors are always on the lookout for the perfect storm: a rare minting year, a flawless coin, and a jaw-dropping error. The 1996 D penny checks all three boxes in a very specific, very limited number of cases. Also, it's Lincoln. Arguably the most iconic figure on U.S. currency. His coins have emotional and patriotic value. For collectors, owning a one-of-a-kind Lincoln cent is like owning a signed baseball from Babe Ruth. There's heritage behind it, but there's something else. Coins like these aren't just collectibles. They're investments. Their value appreciates over time. And unlike stocks or property, they fit in your pocket and can cross borders easily. Ever wonder why hedge fund managers and celebrities are now collecting rare coins? It's not a hobby, it's a smart portfolio move. How many of these 1996 D million-dollar pennies are still out there? Well, that brings us to the mystery that's kept collectors up at night. Experts believe there could be dozens of valuable 1996 D-era pennies still out there, in people's junk drawers, old coin jars, or hidden in bankrolls. Because most folks don't know what to look for. They assume it's just another penny, but the truth is, this coin's value has only come to light recently. With coin grading technologies getting more precise and collectors now paying attention to modern coins, the rush to find these hidden treasures has only just begun. Some estimate that up to 50 error coins with MS68 or higher grades might still be unclaimed. That's 50 chances to become a millionaire. Think about that next time you get a penny and change at the gas station. First, do not clean it. That'll ruin its value instantly. And next, weigh it. Compare its weight to a standard copper-plated zinc penny, then take high-resolution photos and send them to a professional coin grader like PCGS or NGC. For a small fee, they'll give you an official grade. If it hits MS68 or higher with a known error, congratulations, you might be looking at 6 or 7 figures. You can list it in an auction, work with a coin broker, or go directly to collectors through certified coin networks. The point is, don't sit on it. Because while it might seem like just a penny to you, it could change your entire financial future. So there you have it. The 1996 D Lincoln Memorial Penny, an unassuming little coin that's taken the collecting world by storm. A coin that's been spent on soda, left in couch cushions, and buried in backyard time capsules. Now worth over $1 million. So the next time you're about to dump your change into a Coinstar machine, pause. Look closely. That 1 cent might just be your ticket to a whole new life, because sometimes, the smallest things carry the biggest fortunes. What if I told you the penny sitting at the bottom of your junk drawer, the one you've probably ignored for years, could be worth over $1.4 million? Yes, a single 1976 Lincoln Memorial penny, with no mint mark, quietly hiding in plain sight, has turned average collectors into millionaires overnight. This isn't some urban legend or a coin collector's fantasy. It's real. And it's happening more often than you think. I'm going to show you why one small copper coin from 1976 could rewrite your financial story. Whether you're retired, close to retirement, or still grinding away at the 9-to-5, this is your chance to discover treasure, without a shovel. Stick around because what you're about to hear could change the way you look at every single penny you've ever touched. First, let's talk about the year 1976. America was celebrating its bicentennial. Flags were waving, parades were marching, and coins were being struck with patriotic pride. While the government went all in creating special editions of quarters, half dollars, and dollars with the bicentennial design, the humble penny remained unchanged. At first glance, the 1976 Lincoln penny looked just like the years before and after. But not all of them were created equal. Some 1976 pennies were struck without a mint mark. That's not too unusual on its own. The Philadelphia Mint didn't always include a mint mark. But what is unusual is what came next, because one specific batch of 1976 no mint mark pennies had a striking difference. An error so rare, it turned this copper coin into a $1 million masterpiece. No, it wasn't just about the missing mint mark. That's only the beginning. To understand why one of these pennies is now worth $1.4 million, we have to look at 3 key details: the strike, the composition, and the mistake. And now let's talk about the strike. Most pennies are mass-produced. Billions of them are pushed out each year. But every once in a while, a coin gets struck in such crisp detail that it looks sculpted by hand. Sharp edges. Clear text. Perfect relief. Then, there's the composition. The majority of 1976 pennies were made from 95% copper and 5% zinc. But here's the kicker: a few were struck on planchets meant for foreign coins or other denominations. That means some 1976 pennies were created using a completely wrong metal base. Lighter in weight. Slightly different in color. You wouldn't know it unless you tested the coin. But for collectors, that makes it pure gold. And now for the mistake. One specific 1976 penny was struck off-center, and missing details on Lincoln's jacket and the memorial reverse. Combined with its no mint mark origin and unusual weight, this coin stunned experts. It was found decades later in near-perfect condition, and when it finally hit the auction block, it sold for $1.4 million. Imagine this. A retired schoolteacher in Illinois was going through an old coin jar. A jar she and her late husband kept for over 40 years. Dozens of pennies, nickels, dimes, all dull and dusty, and then she saw it. A 1976 penny, no mint mark, but it felt lighter than the others. She almost tossed it out. But something told her to keep it. She took it to a local shop. The guy behind the counter ran some tests, and his hands started shaking. He told her to get that penny certified immediately. Fast forward 6 months. Multiple labs confirmed it was one of the rarest known errors. The teacher was flown out to a major auction house in California. When the hammer dropped, she walked away a millionaire from forgotten change jar to $1.4 million. Experts believe there may still be more of these pennies out there, unaccounted for. Just waiting, maybe, in your drawer. Grab any 1976 pennies you have. Look for the absence of a mint mark, just beneath the date. If there's a D or S, it's not your golden ticket. No mint mark means it might be the one. Check the weight. A normal 1976 penny should weigh 3.11 grams. If it's significantly lighter or heavier, it might have been struck on the wrong planchet. That's your clue. Are there any unusual lines, shifts, or doubling in the lettering? Any off-center strikes? These are the signs that collectors drool over. Flip it over. Inspect the Lincoln Memorial. Look at the steps, the columns, and the United States of America text. Any fading, doubling, or misalignment can be a jackpot signal, and if you think you might have something special, do not try to clean it. That could destroy its value instantly. Instead, put it in a protective sleeve and contact a coin certification agency like PCGS or NGC. Your penny could be next in line to hit 7 figures. Rare coins are more than money. They're history. They're art. They're a one-of-a-kind fingerprint of a moment in time, and for collectors, owning a coin like the 1976 no mint mark penny is like owning a time machine. They're not buying the copper. They're buying the story. The mystery. The thrill of knowing that only one or two of these coins exist. It's no different from people buying classic cars, rare paintings, or baseball cards. Value never stops growing. That same penny that sold for $1.4 million? It was worth around $12,000 just 10 years ago. That's not a coin. That's an investment with a legacy. If you've ever thought about collecting coins, now is the time, because while others are chasing stocks in crypto, rare coins have quietly exploded in value. Especially US pennies from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. The 1976 no mint mark Lincoln penny is just one example. But it proves the point: hidden treasures still exist, and here's the cliffhanger: experts believe that less than 10% of rare error coins have actually been discovered. That means 90% could still be sitting in old coffee tins, boxes in your attic, or even in your pants pocket right now. So before you spend that next penny, check it. Inspect it. Hold it up to the light, because the next millionaire could be you. If this story fired you up, hit that like button and subscribe for more millionaire coin discoveries. Drop a comment below if you found a strange penny recently. I read every single one. Your journey to finding hidden wealth has just begun. This is more than a hobby. It's a doorway to a new life. Gentlemen, what if I told you that a simple copper penny sitting at the bottom of your junk drawer could be worth more than a Ferrari, a beach house, or even a retirement nest egg? I'm talking about the mysterious and mind-blowing 1984 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny. A coin that's made headlines, turned heads, and most shockingly, fetched a jaw-dropping $1.2 million at auction now. If you're like most men between 30 and 70, you've probably handled thousands of pennies in your life without a second thought, but what if one of them could completely flip your financial story? Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly why this penny is worth millions, how to spot one, and what to do if you ever find it. Let's dig into the treasure you never knew you had. The 1984 Lincoln Memorial penny looks ordinary at first glance. It's the kind of coin you'd flip to make a decision or throw into a wishing well, but here's where things get interesting. Unlike other pennies of its era, this coin has a unique story. There's no mint mark under the date. That's your first clue. The missing mint mark tells a bigger story than most realize. You see, back in the 80s, coins minted in Philadelphia often didn't carry mint marks, but that's not the only thing setting this particular coin apart. This 1984 penny comes with a rare doubling error known among collectors as a double die-obverse coin. The features on Lincoln's face, especially his ear and beard, appear to have a shadow-like second impression, not a smudge. Not a scratch. A real, mechanical doubling from the die itself. This isn't just a mistake, it's a minting mystery, and when that error meets the missing mint mark, what you're looking at is a 1 in a million combination. Literally hold that thought. The answer is coming, and it's bigger than you think. It's everything. There are millions of 1984 pennies out there, but only a handful carry this exact error. Less than 100 are believed to exist in premium condition, even fewer are confirmed in what's called MS67 grade, mint state perfection. Now take that small number and add demand. Collectors, investors, historians, they all want a piece of this copper legend, and they're willing to pay big. $1,200,000. Let that sink in. A coin most folks ignore in their couch cushions went for more than most American homes, and that sale didn't happen in the 90s or early 2000s when coin fever was at a high. That happened recently, which tells us something big. Interest in rare coins is only growing. The answer lies in three forces coming together: historical significance, unbelievable rarity, and a mistake that became a masterpiece. But the story gets even crazier when we look at what caused this penny to exist in the first place. A heavy metal stamp used to impress the design onto a blank piece of metal. When the die is misaligned or pressed twice during setup, a doubling effect occurs. These are not modern-day digital errors, these were mechanical mistakes often made during manual adjustments or rushed production schedules, and in 1984, the US Mint was under pressure, millions of coins per day. Thousands of tons of copper moving through machinery. One small hiccup, one moment of human oversight, and boom. A historical error was born. Because pennies were considered low-value production, there was no thought that anyone would be hunting for minor imperfections. Fast forward 4 decades, and collectors are scanning coins with magnifying glasses, high-def cameras, and even microscopes, because now, a smudge of history on a penny could buy you a mansion in Miami. But if you think this coin is rare, wait till you hear how hard it is to find one in perfect condition. The truth is, it's not just about finding the right coin. It's about finding it in the right condition. Coins go through a lot: vending machines, pockets, dirt, rain, heat. Each scratch or blemish drops the value. The $1.2 million coin, that one was untouched, uncirculated, and professionally graded by the best in the business. Grading agencies like PCGS and NGC inspect every detail: the luster, the rim, the clarity of Lincoln's features. Only coins that pass the strictest tests hit the MS67 or MS68 grade. If your coin looks shiny, sharp, and fresh, you're halfway to gold, but don't clean it ever. One guy once tried to polish his 1984 double die penny. He turned a potential $900,000 coin into a $9 souvenir. So if you find a 1984 penny with no mint mark and a shadowed second ear on Lincoln, put it in a soft cloth. Don't touch it, send it to a grading service. That one move could change your retirement plan forever. But what are the odds you'll ever find one? Well, you'd be surprised. Don't underestimate your own home. Old jars, toolboxes, coffee cans filled with change from 30 years ago. These places are gold mines. Next up, estate sales, flea markets, garage cleanouts. You'd be amazed how many elderly folks collected coins without knowing what they had, and if they left it behind, someone might sell the whole batch for $5. And here's where experience comes into play. Men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, you've lived through the coin's lifetime. You remember Reagan, gas at $1. And yes, using change daily, that means there's a very real chance you've touched this $1 million penny before. You just didn't know what it was, but now you do, and now you're armed with the knowledge to recognize history and the power to profit from it. So let's imagine it: you find the penny, you spot the doubling on Lincoln's EAR. It has no mint mark. It's sharp, clean, uncirculated. The market right now is hot. Collectors are paying top dollar for certified treasures. But timing is everything. Wait too long and the excitement fades, sell too early, and you might miss future value. Many men in your age group are planning retirement, thinking legacy. What better legacy than turning a forgotten coin into generational wealth? that's not just smart. That's powerful. But before we close this treasure hunt, there's one final twist. There's a rumor among high-end collectors. A whisper that a near-perfect MS-70 version of the 1984 no-mint mark Lincoln penny may exist. If it ever surfaces, it won't go for $1.2 million. It'll go for double, maybe triple, and it could be in a coin jar in Kansas. Or under a floorboard in Florida. Or in your very own wallet. So, before you spend that next penny, take a second look. You just might be holding history, and if you are, your story is about to change forever. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to check their pockets, because sometimes, the road to wealth begins with the tiniest piece of copper. You ever dig through your spare change, hoping to find something special? Maybe a silver dime, a buffalo nickel, or just enough quarters to grab a cup of coffee. But what if I told you that right now, sitting quietly in someone's junk drawer or buried deep in an old coffee can, there's a 1965 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, worth a staggering $1.6 million? Yes, you heard that right. One tiny copper coin from 1965 is now worth more than most people's homes. And it's not just collectors fighting over this penny, it's investors, museums, and even private billionaires. In today's video, we're going deep into the mystery, the history, and the fortune behind the 1965 no-mint mark Memorial Lincoln penny. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, what makes this coin worth millions, and how to find out if the one in your own collection might just change your life. Let's start with what makes this coin so ordinary looking, and yet so incredibly rare. The 1965 Lincoln penny looks just like any other. It features Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the obverse, facing right, with the words "In God We Trust" over his head, liberty on the left, and the date 1965 on the right. Flip it over, and you see the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. So what's the big deal? No mint mark. That's right. It doesn't say P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco. Now, here's where it gets interesting. In 1965, the United States Mint stopped using mint marks on coins. Why? Because the mint was battling a national coin shortage. People were hoarding coins, especially those made from silver. So the mint removed mint marks to try and prevent collectors from targeting specific coins and worsening the shortage. They didn't just remove mint marks. They changed the very metal composition of our coins. And that tiny decision led to something no one expected, an error so rare, it's now worth over $1 million. Let's talk metals. Before 1965, pennies were made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. But the rising cost of copper in the mid-60s had the mint experimenting with different materials. Although the official composition of the 1965 penny remained copper zinc, several planchets, that's the blank discs used to strike coins, from earlier years or other denominations accidentally slipped through the cracks. Some of these pennies were struck on leftover silver dime planchets. Others ended up with double dies or off-center strikes. And when collectors later found them, often by complete accident, they couldn't believe what they were holding. That's not supposed to exist. But it does. And one of them sold for $1.6 million. So how do you tell if your 1965 penny is one of those rare errors? It's not just the weight, not just the look, and certainly not just the date. There's a hidden combination of clues, and we're about to uncover them one by one. First, check the weight. A normal 1965 penny weighs 3.11 grams. But if you happen to have a penny that weighs closer to 2.5 grams, it might be a silver planchet error. That's a huge red flag in a good way. Second, examine the color and tone. Silver planchet errors shine differently than regular copper coins. They'll look silvery gray instead of reddish brown. But don't polish the coin, cleaning it can destroy the value. Third, check the edges. A penny struck on a dime planchet will be slightly smaller in diameter, and sometimes the rim won't form correctly. These subtle imperfections are worth more than gold. Some 1965 pennies also have double die obverse. That means the coin was struck twice slightly off, causing the text or Lincoln's profile to look shadowed or doubled. These are rare and valuable all on their own, but paired with a planchet error, now you're talking serious millions. Alright, I've got some old pennies at home. But what if you've already tossed away one of these $1 million coins without even knowing? That happened to a man in Nebraska. In 2017, a retired trucker in Nebraska cashed in his old coin jar at a local grocery store coin machine. Nothing special, just random pennies, nickels, dimes. 2 weeks later, the store's coin sorter jammed. The technician opened it and noticed a penny that was unusually shiny. He took it home, tested it, and discovered it was a 1965 Lincoln penny struck on a silver planchet. He sold it at auction for over $950,000, and this isn't the only story like that. A woman in Texas found a 1965 penny with doubling in the words "In God We Trust" and sold it for $12,000. A college student in Michigan discovered a rare off-center strike from 1965 and landed $28,000. These aren't fairy tales. They're real. And they could happen to you, but even if you find one, how do you sell it without getting ripped off? Who do you trust? What if a dealer offers you $1,000? For a coin worth $1 million, the first step is getting your coin professionally graded. You want to contact a trusted company like PCGS or NGC, Professional Coin Grading Service, or Numismatic Guarantee Company. They're the top dogs. They'll authenticate the coin, assign it a grade, and encapsulate it in a protective holder. That holder is gold in the collector world. It makes your coin legitimate. Next, consider auction houses. Not just any auction, but ones like Heritage Auctions or Stacksbowers. These companies specialize in rare coins and have a worldwide buyer network. They'll put your coin in front of the right people willing to drop 6 or 7 figures, and remember, timing is everything. Coin values fluctuate based on metal prices, collector trends, and even what's happening in the news. Selling during peak buzz could mean the difference between $100,000 and $1.6 million. What makes collectors chase it like treasure hunters? The answer isn't just rarity, it's legacy. The Lincoln penny is the longest-running coin design in U.S. history. It's been in continuous production since 1909. That's more than a century of history, politics, art, and change, all in a piece of metal you can hold between your fingers. Collectors aren't just buying coins. They're buying stories, mistakes, survival. A 1965 no-mint mark Lincoln penny that slipped through with the wrong metal, the wrong size, and the perfect storm of errors? That's a piece of American heritage. To own one is to own a rare chapter of the nation's past. And some collectors are willing to pay a fortune to claim that piece. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or crack open that old coin jar in the garage, take a closer look. Really look. That ordinary 1965 penny might not be ordinary at all. It might be a doorway to a new life, a windfall you never expected. 1 penny. One chance. One decision to check, and it could lead to $1.6 million. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe. We've got more million-dollar coin stories coming your way, and you don't want to miss the next one, because your next treasure might already be in your hands. Imagine finding a penny that could rewrite your entire financial story. Now, what if I told you that a simple 1964 Lincoln penny, the kind that could be hiding in your old coin jar or tucked away in a drawer somewhere, is now worth a jaw-dropping $1.7 million? Yes, you heard that right, one single penny. No mint mark. No flashy appearance. Just a regular coin that's anything but ordinary. Stay with me, because in this video, we're going to uncover how a coin that once bought a piece of candy is now buying mansions. And if you've ever held a 1964 penny in your hand, you might be closer to $1 million fortune than you ever imagined. The story begins in a turbulent time in American history. 1964, the height of the Cold War, the civil rights movement was gaining momentum, and the Beatles had just touched down in the U.S. The country was changing fast, and so was its money. The U.S. Mint struck over 6 billion Lincoln Memorial cents that year. They were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Most of them ended up in circulation, bouncing from pocket to pocket. But, among these billions, a few rare specimens slipped through, coins with subtle errors, unique characteristics, or minting anomalies that today command fortunes. But what makes these 1964 pennies so special? And more importantly, how do you know if you've got one of the rare $1 million versions? Because the answer might just change your life. If you look at the obverse, that's the front of the coin right under the date, you might expect to see a little D or S indicating where the coin was minted. But not the one we're talking about. This penny has no mint mark at all. No mint mark means it was produced in Philadelphia. Most collectors might dismiss that, thinking it's common. But in the world of numismatics, details matter. Because within the millions of no mint mark coins, there are a few, just a handful, that were struck with exceptional qualities, rare errors, or preserved in perfect condition. These are the coins that turn heads at auctions and drop jaws when bidding climbs into the 6 and 7 figures. When we talk about coin value, three major forces are at play: rarity, condition, and demand. While billions of 1964 pennies exist, the rare ones have something extra. It might be a double die error, where the design is imprinted twice slightly off, giving it a shadowy, doubled appearance. Or maybe it's a full red luster, a coin so well preserved it looks like it just came off the press yesterday. Condition. A penny graded MS67 or MS68 by a top grading service like PCGS or NGC is virtually flawless. And in the world of collecting, perfection pays big. Demand. Lincoln pennies are one of the most beloved and collected coins in U.S. history. Collectors will go to great lengths and great expenses to complete their sets, especially when a rare variant comes up. And now, think about this: a coin with a double die obverse, no mint mark, full red color, and a perfect mint state condition. That's a unicorn. And one of those unicorns crossed the auction block not long ago, and that's where the $1.7 million price tag came into play. But it didn't start that way. The story behind that coin's discovery is as incredible as its value. The man who found it wasn't a professional collector. In fact, he was just going through some of his late father's belongings: old war medals, faded photographs, and a small box of coins. The 1964 penny caught his eye because of its bright, uncirculated color. It almost glowed. Until he looked closer. The date seemed slightly off. The lettering looked unusual. And when he put it under a magnifying glass, he spotted something that didn't belong: a doubling of the "In God We Trust" inscription. That he sent the coin off to PCGS for grading, thinking maybe it was worth a couple $100. What he got back was the shock of his life: a pristine 1964 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial sent with a rare double die error in blazing red, an evaluation that left him speechless. That coin, later auctioned at a high-end numismatic event, fetched $1.7 million. There are possibly more out there. Maybe sitting in your kitchen drawer. Maybe resting in a jar by your bed. Maybe passed down from your grandfather. First, check the color. Copper pennies come in three color grades: red, RD, red-brown, RB, and brown, BN. Full red is the most valuable, indicating the coin has never been in circulation. Next, inspect the date and lettering. Look for doubling. That's your key to a double die variety. A good magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe is essential here. Then, assess the surface and luster. Any scratches, nicks, or wear will reduce the value. If the coin appears flawless to the naked eye, it's time to consider grading. Send the coin to a professional grading company like PCGS or NGC. Yes, it costs a little upfront, but the returns, as we've seen, can be life-changing. But here's something few people talk about: there's an even rarer variety of this coin. One that's rumored to exist but has never been fully confirmed. A hidden legend among collectors. Rumors in the numismatic community speak of a 1964 Lincoln penny that was struck on a silver planchet. That's right, silver. An anomaly caused during the minting process where the wrong metal blank was used. Only a few experts claim to have seen it. Some say one was auctioned off privately for over $2 million, but the details remain murky. Whether myth or fact, the silver 1964 penny is the stuff of legends, and it's out there, waiting to be found. Could it be in your pocket? Your collection? Or still buried in change that hasn't seen the light of day in decades? And now, the most important question: will you check your jars, drawers, and forgotten boxes? Will you inspect every 1964 penny that comes your way? Will you become the next story, the next lucky American who turned a single cent into a seven-figure windfall? Remember, wealth doesn't always come in the form of big business deals or stock market wins. Sometimes, it's hiding in plain sight, in your change, in your past, in your hands. The 1964 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny is not just a piece of metal, it's a symbol of hidden value, of forgotten treasure, and of the extraordinary power of knowing what to look for. Because the next $1 million penny might already be yours. Your story will become the next chapter in this incredible journey.